Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Project Alpha. Today there won't be a huge amount of work being done on the car as such, but more me talking. As you may have noticed, I hope you have, and a lot of you actually have, messaged me and asked, oh, what's happened to Project Alpha? Now, I can reassure you, we have not stopped. As you can see behind us, the bonnet is up, the car is up on jacks all round. So I'm going to give you a brief fill-in of what's happened in the last, I think, 3 months since I last uploaded a video. So, recently I have had quite a fantastic experience with this car. It being Italian, it decides to work and not work and work and not work. Which is always fun when you get a car working and then it decides to not work once you take it down to the racetrack and try and run it in. On that note, we did get this car running to a standard we thought was acceptable, and then the engine started holding revs and it didn't want to brake, and the brake had basically a giant fade off. The engine problem was solved with a bit of tuning from our friend the Frog, who featured in the last episode, I believe, which was in the last episode. He was there helping get the car ready, and that's because the carburetors that are on these is now off a 2 litre. The one that were before it, that were on here before, were the ones off a 1750 GTV. So they made a little bit of difference. By that, the engine wanted to overheat a lot and also wanted to run on. So that's all been solved. The reason it's up on jacks is because we're still chasing our tails with the brakes. Now, the brakes we thought could have been just big knockoff, which we thought, and I mean it sort of felt like that. You know, soft pedal, pump it a bit, you get brakes. So we bled everything. We bled the master cylinder, all the lines back, had basically perfect brakes, then left it for the night and took it down to the racetrack again, and no brakes. You had to keep on pumping it and pumping it and pumping it. So it was quite weird. I guess we sort of adjust the spacing, and I think we machined down the pads a little bit, or got new pads. Yeah, got new pads. If you machine them down, then the knockoff would have got worse. So we sort of chased our tails for a bit, looking around the braking system for what was the problem. Now, if you stick with me for a sec. Shit. Okay, I thought I had those brake lines with me, but alright, so between the master cylinder and the brake caliper itself is a steel line that holds the brake fluid. It runs all the way down there until it gets to until we get to a flexible hose down the bottom in the brake area. Now, because this car is from 1981, we assume that those flexible lines hadn't been changed, and in fact they started to corrode as soon as we started to put .4 fluid in them, which, if you don't know what .4 is, it is something very similar to this .4 Performance Argyle Motorsport brand, not Castrol. This isn't brand placement or anything like that. Yeah, so this is really high quality, high performance brake fluid. So as soon as we started to put it in there, it started to obviously brake better, but then eventually we think it may have led to a little bit of aggravated erosion of the interior of the brake lines. Now, the brake lines were already a little bit corroded, but we think this could have just been the sort of catalyst to our braking problems. So basically the rubber used to just peel off from the inside and would get caught in the calipers, and the calipers wouldn't work. You'd get no pressure at all. It would sort of just drip out instead of spurting out when you take the brake line off the caliper. So we've taken them off yesterday now, and they've been shipped down to Wollongong. We're getting a new set of braided brake lines all the way through. The Frog is coming back on Friday, and we're going to get all this braking system worked back out. The back has also been fiddled around with, and we've got that all sorted. Well, we're getting that all sorted. And the brake calipers are getting new Ferodo DS Performance pads, which are pretty top of the line if you want to take on a street car on the track for what we're trying to do. So thanks for listening. As I said, not much work done on the car today as such in the video. There's been a little bit of clips here and there, but you can rest assured I have not died, nor has the Project Alpha spirit of getting it out there on the track eventually. So stick by for another episode. There should be one maybe on Saturday or Sunday morning Australian time. So for you Europeans, that's around 7 AM GMT. So yeah, stick by. Thank you and good night.